How you doing? Welcome back to Bleacher Talk, the only talk show on bleachers. I'm your host, not Franz, and let's get this thing started. Today's guest, his name's Ethan Goldman. He graduated from FSU in Exercise Physiology. Right now he's applying to med school, got into a few schools, and he coaches basketball at Pinecrest. Ethan, get over here, buddy. Let's get it.
What up, brother?
A guy. Looking good, bro, looking good. All right. Man, so what's up, man? How's life? How's life been?
It's good, man. Just chilling, working hard,
course.
Applying to med schools, hearing some good news from a few, and that's about it. Taking it easy, enjoying the weather down here.
Of course, it's lovely, man. It was a lovely day. Sun's out, it's bright, super bright. Now, first question, can you tell the viewers about like your major and why you chose to pursue it?
Yeah, so pretty much my major, exercise physiology. When I got to Florida State, I had been interested in biology before then, so we learned about a lot of plants and kind of the cellular processes, but I heard about this exercise physiology major, and I just kind of realized that it was more about the human body as opposed to different types of life, so that really intrigued me. I mean, human sciences kind of always interested me, and to be able to learn about the body's processes, especially when you're exercising, was something that definitely interested me.
Dude, that's good to hear. And you're going to med school to become a doctor, right?
Yep.
Tell us about that real quick.
Yeah. So I'm applying right now. I've been applying for a couple months to schools all over. Hoping to get in, and it's 4 years once I'm in. And after that, I'll be a practicing physician, helping people out.
Now, you told me earlier that there's a difference between a PO and what's the other one called?
Yeah, so it's pretty much two different schools of medicine. So there's allopathic medicine, which is your typical MDs, what you would think of as your regular doctors that you go to see. And they have different types of specialties and stuff. And then there's another school of medicine, which is osteopathic medicine. And that's pretty much, you get all the training that an allopathic doctor gets, plus you also get some training in what's called osteopathic manipulation. And that's pretty much like what a chiropractor does. So aligning the spine correctly, manipulating muscles around the spine so that the body can kind of heal itself.
Of course. Now, that's pretty cool to hear. Like, the human body, like, I don't know much about it, but like some people do. Now, like, what are some things to tell like the viewers like on how to like help your body out? Just tiny things that, like you do every day to help your body out.
Yeah. So another kind of facet of osteopathic medicine is that they have a big emphasis on preventative medicine. So instead of you get hurt and you go see the doctor, you might go see your doctor regularly. He might check your levels, perform some tests, but also talk to you about nutrition, benefits of exercise. So these are all types of things that you can do on an everyday basis that will help you out in the long term. I mean, they've done studies where just doing 30 minutes of walking or physical activity of any kind, not even breaking a sweat, but just walking around 30 minutes a day lowers your risk of heart disease and stroke and all types of issues that you might have later on in life. So you might not think about it, and we're all kind of got cars and you know, you drive your car to work and sit at work all day, and then drive your car home and then sit on your couch and watch TV for the rest of the night. But just maybe walking 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the afternoon, 10 minutes in the evening if you can, will definitely do a world of difference, help you out.
You hear that? Stop being lazy. I'm playing. No, so like in sports, like what's the best way to help like prevent injuries for all these athletes out there?
There's lots of ways. I'd say first thing would be to warm up properly. Before you exert any kind of energy.
Kids don't do that a lot. They just go on the court and start playing or whatever.
Yeah, you definitely want to be careful with that, because one of the main reasons that you get injured is that your body's not properly warmed up, ready to go when you start playing a sport. So something that I always do with my athletes, I put them through a dynamic stretching warm-up where they're kind of moving and getting the muscles warm and ready for activity. And another thing would be afterwards, stretching your muscles afterwards. And what I do is kind of move to a static stretching afterwards, which is your normal stretching where you hold and count to like 20 or 30. And it kind of just helps the muscles be more pliable and prevents injury.
Like me, like I do yoga because like it helps out big time. So like
yoga's great.
Most like athletes like they don't want to try yoga because like there's a certain like stigma behind it. It's not for girls. It's really really good, man. Like it's like tell us about like, do you do yoga or have you tried it?
I have done yoga. I love yoga. Another thing that it not only helps your body, like your skeletal muscle, your musculoskeletal system, but it also helps your breathing.
Yeah.
So if you can, and that's a huge part of exercise. A lot of people don't realize that you can injure yourself from not breathing properly.
How so?
Well, it's pretty in depth, but pretty much when you're working out, and a lot of times, like if you're lifting weights and you're not breathing properly, it causes an unnecessary spike in your blood pressure. Not good for your heart. So if you're breathing properly, then it kind of helps maintain that normal blood pressure, and you're not
like jerking and whatnot. Like you're not like
yeah, and you're not putting extra strain on your heart that doesn't need to be there.
Of course. Yeah, man. Cause like health is wealth, and like
So true,
dude. Like thank God, like throughout my life, like I haven't had serious injuries, like ankle injuries maybe, but like I haven't had like a knee injury or anything like that. God forbid. But like I wouldn't say like I was the most like flexible kid, because like throughout high school and all that, like I never like stretched at all. I just got out there and like just played.
Me too.
So like I didn't realize until I got older in college that like damn, like I have to stretch.
Right.
And like that's a big part of like not getting hurt and like just preventing injuries. Now, how does a proper diet play into I'm not getting hurt?
Yeah, I mean, you know the phrase, you are what you eat.
Yeah.
So everything that you put into your body ends up becoming you.
Yeah.
And you end up using that source of fuel as energy. So if you're putting junk into your body, then you're just not going to run as well. It's like putting in crappy fuel into your car.
Yeah.
It's not going to run as well as if you put in the better type of fuel. So that's just something that's always going to affect kind of how you perform, how you play, and how you might possibly get injured.
Yeah, our body's a temple. So right now I'm gonna pivot. So you coach now. Tell us about that. How do you like it?
Yeah, so while I'm waiting on hearing back from med schools, I went back over to Pinecrest in Fort Lauderdale, and I've been a strength and conditioning coach, so helping those kids out with their workouts and stuff. It's been awesome. I love working with the kids. I mean, you know, exercise and fitness and general wellness is something that I'm very passionate about. So it's just something that I'm happy to kind of share my knowledge that I've learned with the next generation,
of course,
so to speak. So
and like
a lot of fun.
Coaching and like training them, like how does this next generation compare to like us? Like are we the same? Like is there a big difference because of all this technology around us? I don't know. Like is it like us?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the kids these days, they grew up kind of on their iPhones and on their games and stuff, their video games. So I think that like when you and I were kids, it was all play outside, go play in sports and stuff. What I see a lot with these kids is they're almost addicted to their, I mean, everybody these days is addicted to their cell phones, but a lot of them just don't get out and play sports and just go outside and just be active. So something that I always tell them is to just kind of put the phone down. You know, it'll be there in an hour or two when you get back, and go outside with your friends and go play basketball or go play soccer in the park, you know, or do something that's active every day.
Of course, that's good to hear. Like now, like I feel like it's kind of weird because like with your phones, kids see like all this like bad shit going on. Like, okay, I'm not going outside. Like that shit's terrifying. But like when we were kids, like there's bad stuff going on too, but we just didn't know about it. So like I guess that's why like we played out more. But being on your phones, like it's just terrifying because like, all this bad news that you see on your feed or whatever. So I feel like that plays a big part of kids like not wanting to go outside as much.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. But but hey, you can't live scared.
Of course, yeah.
So you got to get out there and live life. You got to experience it at the end of the day. So and be smart about it. I mean, you know, get a group of people together and go play. Go, just be active.
That's true. So now I was gonna ask you, like, so did you help coach the basketball team at school, or?
Yes. So the basketball team is kind of the main team that I work with. I do all their strength and conditioning stuff. I run them on the track, make sure that they're in good shape, and then I get in and do a little bit of like the X's and O's.
Yeah.
Right now they're in the off season, so it's a lot of just working on skills. So like dribbling, shooting, getting better, because the off season is, you know, when you get better, when you make those jumps to the next level. So
exactly. And so, like, coaching, like, do you see, like, since you played the game and like you've played the game like throughout your life, and like now you coaching it, like, don't you feel like you have like a bigger advantage on like knowing like what to say to the kids and how to engage them?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've been lucky to have a number of different coaches playing football and basketball, so I kind of just take a little bit from everybody, and I kind of see what works and what doesn't, and kind of implement it in myself, but I kind of put my own spin on it. And then you got to remember that every kid on the team is different.
Yeah.
So they all have individual needs, and you know, how you coach one student athlete isn't going to be how you coach all the student athletes. So you kind of have to tailor it to each individual athlete while also trying to maintain the team camaraderie, the team chemistry.
So how do you work your way around that? So how do you adjust and be flexible towards each kid?
I think just realizing, you know, where each kid is coming from, what what buttons to push on for each different athlete, and kind of seeing what makes them tick, how you can kind of reach them, and just being around them and being genuine, being yourself. So just, you know, helping them out however you can, and that's it. I mean, you just do your best.
It's like, dude, like with kids, dude, like once you like reach them like inside, because like you can scream all you want, you know what I mean? Like it's not gonna work. It's like in our life, like I would say, like we had coaches that like just fucking screamed at us the whole time, and like we're like, all right, fucking what, like, you know what I mean? Like whatever.
Yeah,
now it's like, all right, like we're over it. But just finding that like right way to like communicate and like reach a kid, like you're right, it's key, man. Like communicating.
Yep.
And
yeah, communication's huge, and I've also found like encouragement is huge too. I mean, instead of being negative all the time and pointing out negative things, point out positive things that the kid can do, and maybe show them some areas where they can improve, but say it in an encouraging way, and then they'll be able to work on that, and they'll have a positive cognition about it too.
That's good, man. Like to me, like coaching like seems difficult, man, because like just controlling like a bunch of high schoolers, like little high schoolers, like because in high school like kids just like to mess around and just have fun and whatnot.
Yeah.
But like if you like get them focused to like achieve like a singular goal, then like damn, like you make all the difference.
Yep, definitely. I think that just finding that right balance, like you said, of having fun, and then knowing when it's time to get serious and get better, so that you know so that the kids can achieve their goals. I mean, I talked to the kids at the beginning about, you know, what they want, not only out of sports but in life. What are their long-term goals? And I try to tailor kind of how I coach them to get to achieve those goals, and how they can just always be improving.
Of course, it's all about growth. Like it's about about the bigger picture.
Exactly.
And like once the kids like see that, like, hey man, like basketball's here right now, but like later on, like you have to be a good person in society, you know?
Exactly.
So, like,
the ball stops bouncing at some point.
Of course, and like that's a great like lesson to like give your kids. I feel like, man, because like once it stops bouncing, then like most of the kids will be like, all right, like what now? But like once they know like they can do more and grow more, then like they'll be fine.
Exactly.
So like a bunch of my friends that like it happened to, you know what I mean? Like it stopped bouncing, but yet like they faced adversity and just kept going, you know, and just kept like living life.
Yeah.
And it's just beautiful to see, and it's, like you like you've grown so much, bro, and like I'm so proud of you, like just hearing you do like big things, man. It's super cool to hear.
And that's life too. You evolve, you change, you adapt. You keep learning. I mean, I'm huge on always trying to acquire knowledge, you know. Learn something new every day. It's so true. even if it's something small. You can never learn too much, and you can never, know everything. So you just always kind of got to be learning and seeing what's going on in the world around you, and evolve a little bit, and get better every day.
Now where do you get your let's say information from? Because you read tons of books, I heard. So which books do you read, and what have you learned from those books that you've read?
I like a lot of different kinds of books. I mean, I try to get information from as many sources as I can, just to kind of see not only information, but where other people get their information from, and kind of see how other people are thinking. But some of my favorite books are in psychology, critical thinking, books on human history. I love, and just kind of always reading different types of things.
So when you were in school, did you study psychology like that, or did you just go into a bit? I
did. I had a couple minors. Psychology was one of my minors. So it's something that I think is an extremely interesting science.
Of course,
I mean,
it's like
the science of the human brain, and our behavior, and why we do things, and how we do things, I think is just extremely interesting.
So can you go in a bit about that, because I kind of want to hear it. Talk about psychology for a bit, and what you know about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, it really comes down to that. So it's kind of how we do the things that we do, and why we do the things that we do. So why someone might behave in a certain way in a certain situation. And what I've kind of learned is that it really all goes, in terms of psychology, it kind of all goes back to childhood.
Let's talk about it.
So I tell people, you can't really understand someone unless you've understood their childhood.
And how they grew up.
The situations that they were in, lessons that they learned as a child, because that's when the brain is forming. And your brain is developing all the way up until you're about 25 years old. So as a child, certain things might happen to you that impact your brain and might get you to think a certain way or do certain things, and then as you grow up and become an adult, the way that your brain was formed has an impact on how you act in society. So that's something that I always tell people, when someone's quick to judge somebody else, I'll always say, well, you really can't understand them unless you understand their childhood and kind of where they're coming from, and the lens that they kind of see the world through.
Because some children I'll go through traumas, and when they're older, it's kind of hard for them to unsee the trauma that they've been through. So that's why they're not quick to trust people or this and that. I'm thankful because I had I would say a solid childhood. You know what I mean? I'm not very mad or anything at anyone at all. I'm saying so much bad right now, but I'm laid back. But other kids will be so quick to get angry and this and that, and it's so cool to it's not cool to see, but it's damn, what happened to you? You know what I mean? What's going on?
No, and it all stems back, I mean, to that person's perspectives and experiences. I mean, nothing happens in a vacuum. So everything that goes on in that person's life leading up to today shapes that person's thoughts and feelings and behaviors, and how they act and how they react to different situations. So it's definitely interesting to read up on and learn about.
Dude, that's so it's cool to think about, man, because humans, bro, we don't know what we are yet, because our brains are we don't understand our brains yet, but some books, as you said, that can tell us that how we're programmed, as you said, through childhood traumas. I don't say traumas, but just our childhood, and just growing and trying things out and either failing or passing from them, and then keeping that information and retaining it and just growing from that. So all that growth is basically who we are right now, and in this day and time. And it's pretty cool to think about.
It's true, and humans as a collective are always learning too. I mean, going back to pretty much the Renaissance age, where we first started thinking of science. It was kind of the first time that humans as a collective group said, oh, maybe we don't know everything. You know what I mean? And so they started doing research and started doing experiments and figuring out, how does the world work? How do humans work? And that's where physics comes from. That's where chemistry comes from, biology. It's all kind of how the world works, and how humans work in the world. So psychology. And that's one of the things that I love about science, is that we scientists and people in the scientific community are willing to pretty much admit their own ignorance and admit what they don't know, so that they can find out the truth, you know?
Exactly.
And then they go through a scientific process of hypothesis, experimentation, data analysis, and interpreting the results, and then sharing those results with the world, so that other scientists can check it and try it and do their own experiments. And it's a never-ending cycle of information and acquiring knowledge. I think it's definitely a beautiful thing.
Dude, it's cool. So throughout history, because as humans, as a collective, we're always learning. So I've asked you this, throughout history, there's been some certain things, but those that don't know history, you know what I mean? It's alongside that we're doomed to repeat it. So that's about history and how big how big it is for us to know right now, just throughout society and life in general.
Yep.
It's that's on history.
Yeah. Humans, in particular, have come a long way in a short amount of time.
Yes, dude.
So, like I said, going back to the scientific revolution, Renaissance, back 1500s, humans finally admit their own ignorance, start to learn, and that's kind of when they were establishing different colonies. They're spreading out across the world. Fast forward to now, we're kind of going through another revolution.
Yeah. With technology, bro.
Technology, with iPhones, with just the way that we communicate and transport all over the world.
And space too.
Space is huge too. But you think about it, and it was 115 years ago, say, that the Wright brothers took off in a plane for the first time ever. That was the first time anybody had ever been off the ground for more than a few seconds.
Yeah.
And they lasted 10 seconds and then crashed down to Earth.
Yeah.
And now, we're flying around and you can get to China in 12 hours. You can pick up your phone and talk to somebody face to face anywhere in the world. So I think that just where we're going, it's really exciting. We're in a very exciting time period, and we're in the middle of a revolution right now. So
I just want to see where it takes us, man. Yeah. Because as humans, dude, we don't know when so much is too much, Because we're always innovating and innovating again.
Yeah.
So, and we never stop innovating, and it's gonna be interesting to see, man. Because the technology, it's booming right now, man. There's so much entertainment, movies are coming out, CGI. There's so much stuff, man, around us, and it's so cool to watch and see, and
a lot's happened in the past 20 years. Just since 2000. And in the medical field too. We cracked the genetic genome, the genetic code of humans around 2000. And since then, we've been able to manipulate our own DNA to solve problems, to solve genetic diseases, and help people. And we're kind of moving toward a world where people might be able to pick their genes or pick the traits of their kids that they want. So it's it's a weird time, and it has to do with ethics, what's right and what's wrong. Because from the beginning of time until about right now, it's always been natural selection. That's how humans, that's how animals procreate and create offspring, with natural selection. But now we actually have the ability to manipulate that procreation and manipulate the offspring so that it's not natural selection, it's artificial selection. And you're actually going in, picking and choosing different traits. So if I wanted my child to have blue eyes, I would go in and find the gene that codes for the eye color and be able to just manipulate that gene and make it however I want. So
dude, at some point, crazy. That's playing God right there,
Exactly.
It's kind of interesting because with computers, you know what I mean, the way I see it, bro, like humans are like we're all programs, you know what I mean? And like we're getting to the point where like we can like reprogram ourselves, as you said, like through like gene editing. And like in China right now, like they're like gene editing babies and all that to take away their disease, but we don't know the problems of that yet until the babies are older, you know. So it's gonna be like and like it's very like as you said like unethical too. So like we don't know like where it's gonna go, and like who knows if people like are like can like afford to like how do I say like what's the word like program their babies, will they? And like if they can't afford to, like will they like be frowned upon? So that's a whole other thing in like society too, because like
that's another thing.
It's
I mean, yeah, and also where we're going kind of economically with a large amount of wealth being accumulated by a smaller and smaller population, kind of just a steady trend of increase in the wealth gap between the super wealthy and the poverty line. So it's just creating kind of a world where very few people control wealth and control the power and are able to kind of do what they want with it, and kind of everybody else might get left behind.
Yeah, and like it's kind of scary to think about, but we'll see where it goes, you know. Like I'm not gonna like I can't speak too much on it because like I have no idea like where it's heading, but like you're right, man. Like it's becoming pretty big, and like and throughout history, like when it gets too big, like it's gonna burst eventually, you know. Unfortunately, yeah.
It could. I think a problem also with that is that the government. I don't think the governments can keep up with the technology.
Yeah.
I think that private companies and corporations and wealthy people are moving at pretty much light speed with technology and the biohacking and genetic engineering, and governments kind of don't know what to do,
like the laws
to regulate
won't,
it.
like add up. Yeah, exactly. Like regulations are not there because like for example with Facebook, dude, like they collect so much data like throughout like you like on different websites and whatnot, and like they just collect it to sell you ads and shit. Like yeah, like it makes money and shit, but like at what point is like that like unethical? Like there's like no laws to regulate that yet, but regulations are not there yet, and like you're right, technology's like skyrocketing right now, man. And it's not stopping either because there's so much innovation.
And you still have government officials kind of going back to the Constitution and looking at this was written in the Constitution, but like I don't think that the writers of the Constitution
thought about these problems,
could ever imagine something like the internet or iPhones or genetic engineering or any of that. So I think that we have to do a better job at adapting our regulations and our laws to kind of catch up with the 21st century and where we're headed in the future.
Yeah, that's big time. Well, right now we're wrapping up. I mean, last words to the viewers. Anything you want to say to the viewers? Like anything at all?
Not much. I mean, I'd just say do your best. I mean, life, it's not always easy, and you might go through adversity, but at sometimes, you got to just buckle down and do your best.
That's true. Very true. All right, Ethan, thank you so much for being on the show, man. My God.
My man.
Have a good one, all right, boss?
You too, man.
Have a good one.